Hi, I'm Peter Haddock, and I'm here with Samuel. Samuel, you're Blackwell's operator here on HS2, and you've actually gone through the eco operator training with Flannery already. I'm here to see some of the people here today doing it. But tell me a little bit about your experience as an operator, but also, then the eco operator experience and how it sort of changed things a little bit for you.
Yeah, so I hold multiple categories of
Yeah.
plant, but primarily I'm on a 360 tracked
Right.
machine.
Yep.
And going through the eco training, it obviously highlights a few things that we could modify ourselves as operators, and also for the dump truck drivers that we're loading. It's important for them to understand little things that they each do, because there could be 10 of them, there could be 20 of them. If they all do their little part, it comes together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when you're talking about, obviously the 360s, the digging and the loading, when you're talking about the dump trucks,
Yeah.
and, we're on a linear project here, so there's a lot of digging, a lot of loading and transportation. And tell me some of the little things that do make a difference, I guess, positioning of their trucks from that perspective and how you communicate with them, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Like the dump trucks forming into what we call a spotting position,
Yeah.
and keeping the gaps quite tight. Side loading, back loading, choosing the best method for the job. And for the excavator myself, making sure the machine's in the correct mode. So you could have eco mode, you could have smart mode, power mode when you need it, but
Yeah.
to be less on that. You can do the same with eco mode mostly.
So, most people think just chuck it in power mode, don't they?
Yeah.
And it will, it will do the job. Whereas actually, when you're just doing some basic loading, then that's not required. When you need those breakout forces in more difficult scenarios, then that's when you want to go for that. But most people wouldn't understand the difference necessarily from an impact when it comes to fuel and carbon, would they? I guess?
No, not at all. People just think, yeah, like you said, whack it into power mode and dig away, but that's not what we want to do. If you're an operator, you've got to be doing it properly. You've got to be professional and do the most you can with the smallest amount of impact on the environment.
And I think, when we talk about, everybody's talking about idle time, right?
Yes.
But, yourself as an operator, there's good idle time.
Yes.
And there's bad idle time. And, you're going to have to idle, particularly when you're loading, while you're waiting for something to, a truck to come along, or, when you're doing another sort of task, there's going to be a certain amount of positive idling, let's say, into that space. But it's the idling time that they're really focused on here on the project that is, the non-effective idling time, isn't it? And tell me what that sort of looks like.
Yeah, exactly. So traditionally, people would load the bucket before the trucks come back round. They would have it hanging up in the air. They'd have, full revs. It'd go into idling mode anyway, so the revs drop down. Still have the bucket up in the air to signal to the dump truck, yep, I'm ready to load. You're ready to get into position. But the days of that are gone, really. You're going to lower your bucket and turn off the machine if it's feasible. I mean, if you're waiting longer than 3 minutes, 4 minutes, turn the machine off. You can obviously look over your shoulder. You see no dump trucks are coming in the distance, because on this HS2 we have a lot of traffic management. We're crossing over live carriageways, so it changes the game. We're not in a big open fielded area where it's segregated haul roads with no breaks in them.
Right.
I mean, there's a lot of structures, there's a lot of roadways, public roads, a lot of obstacles for the dump trucks to come back, so it lengthens the time that they're on the haul.
Yeah, and I think that it is job site to job site specific when we look at these sort of things. So again, I've talked to some of your colleagues, and what they're talking to me about is the positive reinforcement. Because we're looking at data. Every machine on this job site is sending data to either the Blackwell system, where they can record the data and the productivity and things like that to show the customer, because that's part of the contract, or the Flannery, same machine situation there. But I've heard of a little bit of a reward program going on, which I think is brilliant, guys.
Yeah, the incentive program. Yeah. So in each category of plant, we have first, second, and third and
Right.
I think it's like 300 for the first,
Right.
200, then 100 each month. So yeah, and the guys have actually been jumping on board that, and they're taking it seriously now. So
Yeah.
sort of, yeah, that carrot dangling is working. Yeah,
And I think that's really cool because what you're saying is, look, we've got a whole community here. If we can all work together, save fuel, that's great. But
yeah,
equally, if you can really, and it's about improvement as well,
yeah,
isn't it? If you can really improve, you can get to the top of the tree, and then there's some money for you in the pay packet. Well,
yeah,
that just really shows the nature of Blackwell's and of Flannery as organisations that say, look, if you're saving us money, we're going to offer you a little bit of an incentive, and we're going to pay back for that hard work and effort. And it kind of creates a whole different scenario with
yeah.
teams and with individuals, doesn't it? Tell me about the way in which the kind of, I guess, the camaraderie as well has happened.
It does, yeah, because there's a lot of competitiveness. They'll often talk at break times in the canteen. Oh, I won last month, so I'm going to win this month.
Yeah,
And what you're finding is what I call them the veterans,
yeah,
the older gentlemen that have come to this game. When they didn't have aircon, they didn't have this, they didn't have that, and they're actually taking it on board,
right.
and they're trying to show that they're better operators in that way, not just loading the trucks in the quickest way, but using the machine and utilising it to its proper ability.
And I think what's really exciting about this, folks, is you talk about the veteran operators. We've got a classroom full of really experienced operators today that are learning. And what's really interesting for me about that is, they're very, very experienced. So they are the cream of the crop on this project anyway. They've
Yeah,
had, they've been in the seat for a long time. And I always call them the brains of the machine, folks, the operators. Without a good operator, there's no point in having a great machine at all.
exactly.
And looking after things, even looking after GET and doing the regular maintenance and stuff, which all helps. Once you get rid of that mud that's caking the tracks, all
Yeah,
helps to be more efficient
Yeah,
and stuff. But they have really embraced it. Which when you say this sort of old dog new tricks type
yes,
scenario, it's great to hear about that, isn't it? Because at the end of the day, we're all in it together. And so, you're also sat on a simulator now where we're talking
yeah,
about the site using things like 3D machine control from the likes of Leica Geosystems, and also, sort of safety solutions from, the likes of, say, X-Watch and things
yeah,
like that. And so, that is important that people have an opportunity to learn about these new sort of techniques and technologies in a classroom environment rather than sort of playing around on a machine from day one. That makes a difference again, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, of course it does, because you're not burning diesel to teach people.
Yeah.
Initially they'll come on here to see what the controls are like and go through the different settings and systems. It's great.
And I've seen banks of them in Flannery's operator skills hub as well,
Yeah,
with drivers working on the dumper and the excavators together on a simulator, so they can actually understand
yeah,
the challenges and the communication there. So you have already got your operator, eco operator qualification now,
yes,
and it
yeah.
is a qualification. Sits on your card, doesn't it?
It does, yeah, yeah.
And so from you, that investment in there, yes, paying off, doing all the rest of it, but you've now got that accreditation to show for the next project after HS2 and beyond, haven't you?
Exactly, because this is the way that everything's going. So it's handy for me to have that on there. But it's more important for me to sit in sessions like this, talk to guys like Andy that are running it, and actually understand it. I mean, in the session, there was quite good feedback from all sorts of different people, and there's different angles, things that I hadn't thought of that I'm going to incorporate going forwards as well. Yeah.
It's really important. So not only is it just a classroom type thing, everybody's talking together. So great to be able to share all this with you folks. I'm really passionate about the industry, but the people like yourself make the industry happen, and it's all about supporting our journey and the individual's journey in the right way. So great to see an eco operator in the flesh. Cheers.
Thank you very much.